Hello, everyone. This is Mike Ronchetti, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from Michigan with us today. It's my pleasure to welcome Cody Ley to the show today. Hello, Cody.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me.
Great. I'm really glad you joined us and looking forward to talking to you more about your company. So let's start with you introducing yourself and telling us a bit about your personal story, like maybe where you're born, where you live, about your family, some hobbies, and then, of course, I need a funny story out of you. Somebody has something to talk about you, or you can talk about something. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so like you said, my name's Cody. I was born and raised in Southwest Michigan. I went to a super small high school called Constantine, in a rural area, so not a super populated area. A lot of farming going on, and yeah, I guess from there, I uh, I played basketball when I was a kid, and that was my first passion, my first love, and so I was really into basketball and got a scholarship to go play into college. So I ended up going to
Oh,
Lake Superior State, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and spent 5 years up there. Had a redshirt year, and studied biochemistry and environmental science, and so that's what my degree is in. And then and yeah, for a funny story, I guess that people would say is when I was 16, me and three of my buddies, we first got our learner's permits, our driver's license for the first time, and we wanted to do a little road trip. And so we started just driving, and then 4 days later, we ended up in California at Venice Beach playing basketball out there. Um, yeah, my parents weren't too happy with it at the time, but now it's definitely a funny story that we look back at now.
oh, that's cool. You just had reason to keep driving. That's fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move from that to the reason why you started your business. Tell us a bit about your business, about how it came about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could actually run a business?
Yeah, so Hemp for Humanity is a sustainable and affordable building company, and we're specializing in prefabricated hempcrete panels. And so it kind of came about. I learned about hemp when I was doing my senior thesis project in college. I was doing it on bioplastics and plasticizers and how they biodegrade. And that's how I learned about hemp and industrial hemp specifically. So, all the different things that it can do and how it's such a versatile biomaterial. And I've always kind of had a passion about um, housing and having affordable housing and access to it.
Mm.
And so when I learned about how hemp could be used as a building material, specifically in the form of hempcrete, which is the material that we use, I was really fired up about it. And so I started researching it like crazy. Out of college, I got a job, um, and I got a job for a startup. I was running a facility doing supercritical CO2 extraction, and all the while, I was traveling the country. I was participating in hempcrete building projects with different builders all across the country. I was learning about farming, and I realized that nobody was farming it here in Michigan. Not the industrial fiber varieties, right? They're CBD growers, but this is a little bit different. So in 2021, I started farming industrial fiber hemp on small 5 acre plots, doing variety trials with Michigan State University. And we were studying, what varieties grow well, how they yield, and different growing practices to, you know, maximize potential. And yeah, and then I guess 3 years later, I uh, I feel like I gained the confidence because, like I said, I was working for a startup. So
Mhm.
when that company started, it was really just me and the CEO in a 20,000 square foot facility. And so from that experience, I definitely gained a lot of valuable knowledge and skills on how to go from 0 to 50 employees and all the management and the back end stuff that it takes.
Wow.
And yeah, that was what inspired me to take the leap of faith eventually. And then yeah, we started farming more. So then I scaled up to 40 acres. We got a contract for a food grade paper and plastic pilot program with a national company, and and that same summer that I quit my job, we got a grant to work on prefabricated designs and engineering for our Hempcrete panelized building system.
Wow, that was a good summer.
Yeah, it was, and it was very yeah, it was exciting, and like I took the leap of faith without all of that in line, and once I did, it was 2 weeks after I got that first contract, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on track. This is what we came here to do. So
Got it. Oh, fantastic. Well, fantastic. So, anybody else want any information about company we're describing here, you can check out the link below on the LinkedIn page that we got here, as well as the information about what he's doing overall. There's a couple of good spots, and his website will be there too. So just be aware we got the information for you right here. So moving on to a little bit more, I'm going to go from the company to you. I want to talk about you sharing a story where someone maybe inspired you or pushed you that you could do it, and the impact that person had on you.
yeah, so definitely a lot of different people and faces along the way that really inspired me. But I guess in you asking that question, the one that first comes to mind is in 2022, I was participating on a build with a man named Cameron McIntosh, and he is the owner of the company called Amera Chandra. And he was really one of the pioneers of hemp building in the United States. He brought over a spraying system, a spray applicator for the Hempcrete installation, and yeah, he's probably has the most builds in the U.S. and he's done the biggest projects. And I was working alongside him on a project, and we were pushing it. Had a deadline coming up, and we were pushing it till 12 or 1 a.m. trying to get this job done. And after we got it done, I was just a great feeling. I was super inspired, and he's like, yeah, he really instilled a passion in me to see someone who was doing it on that scale and how he worked. It definitely resonated with me, and to see where he's at now, scaling his company. But I remember that night I told him, I was like, right now, if you're like the Michael Jordan of the industry, I'm going to be like the LeBron James. And he's like, yep, you can do it. You can do it. And I was like, that's it. And I think about that a lot because it keeps me pushing.
Uh, great goal setting. I mean, as far as manifesting it, it'll happen kind of thing.
Right.
Good, exciting, good, great story. So, what's your biggest learning already as a business owner?
Yeah, like I said, I'm a super hard worker. I've always been a really hard worker. But I think now, like running my own company, I'm starting to realize, like, obviously it takes hard work. Starting any business takes a lot of hard work and dedication. But I'm starting to learn that I think that it's less about how hard you can work and more about how well you can delegate and lead and put people in the right positions so that you can succeed. Because even in this first summer, when it was just me, I was the only employee. um, I went from the number one driving factor of the business to the number one limiting factor of the business because I was trying to do everything. Like in my case, we're vertically integrated from the farm to the frame. And so I was out there on the tractors. I was working on them when they broke down. I was harvesting and baling and processing the hemp, as well as trying to do marketing and getting leads. And we did 3 building projects this summer. And so it's been a super busy summer. And at first, when I was trying to do it all by myself, it was very exhausting. And it was just I realized that I could only take it so far by myself. And so then it's
Mhm.
starting to delegate the tasks. I feel like is definitely the key.
Great. So you learned how to build teams. Sounds like even more than you did before. So even though
Right,
so
right.
a
Yeah.
personal team that you get to decide, do I have the money or not, type of thing. Got it. Okay. So we know, and kind of follow up on this same topic, can we know that business success doesn't kind of happen in isolation? Tell us about your biggest challenge during the years, and maybe a fellow business owner who helped you through it. And you kind of gave one example. Maybe there's another one there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think my biggest challenge this year was on the farm actually, and we were harvesting. Got done with harvest, and we were baling. And I'm a first generation farmer, so I'm not like the most experienced, and so I definitely had to lean on a lot of my fellow farmers. And there's one guy in particular who's been really supportive of me. His name's Matt Kaufman. He runs Kaufman Farms, one of the larger farmers in our area. And there was one instance where I was baling, and then I think something must have happened in the baler, or a bearing went out and it heated up, and I dropped a bale, opened it up because I heard some squeaking, and then went to my truck to grab some tools, and I turn around and the whole baler's up in flames
Ooh.
and completely engulfed. And I'd never experienced anything like that. So I was pretty distraught about it. But then I called Matt, and he's like it's no big deal. He came out and he helped me, and he's just like, "Yep, happens." And so he kind of just he definitely taught me, yeah, how to persevere, and that farming's not easy, and that you definitely have to have a network of people that are there to help, or else we wouldn't have got the rest of the field baled. So
Oh,
yeah.
great story. Thank you for thanks for us allowing us to be introduced to Matt. I mean, he sounds like a great guy. I'm glad he's with you. So let's go.
Yeah.
So, kind of in the same vein, if I asked you to pick three people in your business journey that are the most grateful for what you've done over the growth, who are they and how would they help? Again, I realize that your journey has been what about 5, 6, 7 years? It sounds like in this since you got out of undergraduate school. I'm not sure, maybe
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, like you said, there's a lot of people along that journey. But I guess I'd have to go back to more the foundation. Like, the first person that comes to mind is my best friend since we were young, Tyler Shank. Ever since we were young, like I said, we started businesses together. We've done basketball training. We've done a water sports business while we were in college, and a painting business. And he's definitely just like a rock that I can lean on at all times, someone I can really trust. And yeah, he's supported me a lot through this journey. Um, and then towards the beginning, when I first started farming, the Brennemans, a family who owns some property, they're the first ones that I think saw the potential of what I was doing and the potential in me. And I started farming on their land, and they've been super supportive of me all the way through till now. And then I guess more recently, um, the architect that I work with, Ellis,
Uh-huh.
he's been a great factor in my business growth. Just being able to go to someone with a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge who can see my vision and articulate it in design and support me through trying to grow a business. He's also trying to grow a prefabricated building business using straw bale. So we have a lot of like similarities, and we're trying to pioneer an industry here in Michigan. And so yeah, it's great to have people like that in your corner.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to change from past a little bit to the future. As you think about the next, let's just say 1 to 3 years, what is your number one point of growth or a challenge to achieve your goals?
Yeah, I think both the answer to both the number one point of growth and challenges is just infrastructure. So the industry that we're working in, industrial hemp, has only been legal since 2018, and only kind of really been developing since 2020, 2021. So right now there's infrastructure popping up all over the U.S. in terms of like processing equipment that can process these industrial fibers so that they can be used for papers, plastics, and fuel. And so that's the biggest challenge, and that's what I'm trying to bring to Michigan right now, is to scale our farm, bring equipment on that can process many more acres of industrial hemp. Because right now across the whole U.S. there's only 20,000 acres, which is minuscule in the terms of
Mm.
agriculture. So I guess setting up processing facilities that can process the fiber, and then what we use for the building materials is actually the byproduct. So for example, like this year, we built a small decorticator, an on-farm decorticator, which basically separates the fiber from the woody stalk of the plant. And then I can sell that fiber to the paper and plastics company, and then I can use that woody stalk, which is called the hurd, and put that into my Hempcrete building recipes. So it's a really great versatile crop, and setting up the equipment that's necessary for it is definitely the biggest challenge. And in 1 to 3 years, I'm hoping to have that here, hopefully next year, here in Michigan, so that we can scale up the farm and build a lot more houses.
Fantastic. Great. So, kind of on the same vein about the future, I want to reference somebody from my own past. We have a business coach who's our legendary one, is kind of our superstar sport athlete named Jim Rome. He just passed away in the last year or so here, but some of his words were really very relevant. And one of it was that to become the average of the five people who you most spend the time with gives you an insight. What do you think about that kind of thought in the sense of we work with sometimes business owners who want to try it on their own, and what would you advise them?
Yeah, I think we touched on it a few times just in this small 20-minute interview, how much
Yeah.
the network really defines, you know, your potential and your value and how far you can go. So like keeping the right people around you is definitely important. And yeah, overall, I think having a network to lean on when you're lacking, when things get hard, when you're lacking that trust or faith, then that's definitely a key factor. People that can hold you accountable, and that is also a really hard thing to do. Is it definitely is a period of separating yourself from old habits or old things that aren't serving you as much. But yeah, it's definitely the key, I think, to growing is putting yourself in the room with people who you see as mentors or who can show you what you can really do.
Hmm. Well, it sure sounds like, Cody, you've been blessed with some incredible people who've helped you along your journey. What would you like to say to them?
Oh, definitely just yeah, all the things like very grateful, very grateful to God first of all, was a big factor, and yeah, grateful to the people who can see the vision and who've donated their time and their resources or their thoughts on everything that I'm doing, because I definitely think that there's a bright future in what we're doing, not just for the business, but for the environment and for the health of the people that are living in these homes. And so I'm really grateful to see people who share that vision.
Oh, nice, nice. Thank you. So, Cody, it's been a real pleasure worth speaking with you today. Again, thank you for very much to being on my show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me.